I'm Manohar. I'm senior software engineer at Latitude Pay. So, and I've been working on React Native since 0.58. And yeah, and today's my topic is handling dynamic links in React Native. Yeah, so let's get into it. Yeah. So, yeah. So, what are dynamic links? So, this is the Firebase definition of the dynamic links. So, dynamic links are the deep links into an app that work whether or not user have installed the app yet. And the user opens a dynamic link in an app that is not installed, it will take them to the Apple App Store page or Play Store page, from where user can install his app directly. And from after he clicks open, from after installation process is done, he clicks open to the app, and the content won't be lost, so the content will be there, so user can still see this content, the entire data that is in the link, so user can access it after he opens the app. So Play Store installation, and don't make it lost. So if you look at the uh, chart on the right side, this is how you debug normally deep dynamic links. So if you just add a d equal to 1 at the end of the dynamic links, so you can see the chart like this. Any dynamic link you can see chart like this, so you can debug like how the dynamic links act or behave at the different platforms. Yeah. Mm. So yeah, let's see some use cases to better understand dynamic links. Yeah. So uh, if you so you can link your users to their favorite songs, and link them to their like any favorite movies of them, to directly without any going through the process or anything. So you can link your user to the movies and stuff. So you can link your users to their payments. Yeah. Okay. So linking to the payments is not working, I guess. Yeah. So because the UPI links are not dynamic links, they are deep links. So the problem with deep links is that they're different. They have different URL scheme. They need different URL schemes for work on different devices, and they don't work if the app is not installed yet in the app. So this is how a normal deep link will look like, or any UPI link will look like. So it will contain your UPI ID and name and other details. Yeah. So let's try to convert this to a dynamic link. So yeah, so yeah, if you notice, I added all the parameters that are after UPI. I just added to my UPI.com. Uh, so yeah, so it doesn't work directly. So not because I don't know my UPI.com, just because I have to do some configuration for this link to work. Yeah. So what are the configurations? So first you have to do some configuration on Firebase side. Then you have to do some configuration on your app side for for your app to accept dynamic links. And there are some other changes you have to do. So first you have to configure domain. So if you go to Firebase console and click on dynamic links at the bottom in the nav bar and click get started, you can add your domain there. And then uh, you can configure a prefix, path prefix. So it is optional. If you don't give a prefix, so every link of your app will go to every link of your domain will go to app directly if it is in that platform. So if you want to like filter from some links to go to app, some links should work fine on web, so then you can configure that here, and it will give you some keys that you have to give to the DNS provider and add it on your domain will work. Yeah, since as I mentioned, I don't own my upa.com, I'll proceed with page.link. Yeah. So this is page.link is something that is provided by Firebase, so it's free to use. Yeah. So that is done. Let's create dynamically. So how do we go about it? So you can just you so if you click on like proceed create a new dynamic link button on the dynamic links uh, tab, so you can do that here. Like you can configure your like URL, and then you can add your URL that dynamic link will expand to here, and some name to it, and you can configure how it should behave like in different platforms. For example, in Apple, we want a dynamic link to open an Apple app directly, so you can do that here. For it to work, you have to add your App Store ID and the team ID, And then same with the Android as well. So you can add your deep link to work on Android, like do that. And you can choose, like if the app is not there, if the app is not installed, take him to the Play Store page of the link, or any custom URL you have for the install, you can add it here. Yeah, and then some optional campaigning stuff, and the dynamic link is ready. And there are other ways to create. You can create a dynamic link from backend, which is the most normal use case. So you can use any Python or Node libraries for that. Like this is one of the Python libraries, dynamic links, firebase dynamic links. So you can use, and the code will look somewhat like this. Yeah. And now the app setup, and you can create dynamic links from the app also directly, but it is not the normal case. Like people don't do that usually. Yeah. Uh, and the now the app setup. So you can run these commands, yarn, install firebase and dynamic links, firebase and libraries. And then you have to do pod install, obviously. And now the iOS configuration. This is a long process. Yeah, so you have to go to developers.apple.com, you choose your account and go to ID that you are configuring, and you have to give it the associated domain capabilities. So you can do that here. So once you add any capabilities, right, you have to recreate your provisional profiles. So if you have already a match configured, fastland match, you can run the command and create all provisional profiles again. If not, it's a laborious process that you have to create all them again manually. So now you have to do some configuration in Xcode. So since you have to add associate term and capabilities in Xcode as well, and you add your link here as like this. And you have to do some Android configuration. You have to add this intent filter in manifest.xml file here, and some JS. Yeah, so until now you haven't wrote a single line of JS. Now finally, so this is the only thing. This is the thing that is like entire talk says, like handle dynamic links, and there's only one slide for it. Yeah, uh, so this is straightforward. So you can add this function in your initialization function app.js, and call this function there. And if the app is initialized by a dynamic link, you will get that link from here, and you can do the corresponding process. If the link is like a UPI link, as I mentioned, UPI dynamic link, you can take the user to directly the payment screen. Otherwise, take them to the home screen directly. Yeah. So if you notice, there are condition, like if the app is in foreground or background. So you have to have a two different functions here. So on link is the foreground state. So for example, if the user will have the app open, and he clicked on a dynamic link from some other sites or WhatsApp or somewhere, and it took him to the user, it took him to the app. So didn't call start, it just open. So on link will give you the link. Another case where the app is called started from the dynamic link, it will give you the link using get initial link. So you can differentiate foreground and background states using, if you have the function called in app.js, you can consider it as background state. Otherwise, if the function can call from the app state listener, then you can consider that as a background state, sorry, foreground state. And some other changes that I mentioned. So this is App Store ID team ID you have to add in the Firebase, and you have to add a SHA-256 fingerprint to the Firebase Android. Yeah, that's it. We are done. Okay, so just to verify your dynamic links are working, you can go to this Apple Appset Association and Asset Link JSON pages to see whether they are working fine or not. If you get this JSON similar to this like objects, that means like they are configured well both in Android and iOS. So yeah, now how do UPI uses dynamic links, and user will now be confused to scan which QR for which app. Yeah, that's it. So these are the resources and documentation. If you have any clarification needed, contact me at Manohar everywhere. Yeah.